This is IGN. Eli Roth attempts to make his own Terrifier or weapons, only to fall painfully short of both. This is your IGN review of Ice Cream Man by Chase Hutchinson. Eli Roth is no stranger to violence. Over the course of his career, from directing unrelentingly gruesome films like Hostel and the darkly fun yet forgettable Recent Thanksgiving, to playing a brief yet memorable part in Inglourious Bastards, he's made blood and viscera the materials with which he paints. Sometimes this has yielded results you can't help but be begrudgingly captivated by, where the more blood runs, the more you can't bring yourself to look away. Still, in many other cases, looking at you, Cabin Fever, and The Green Inferno, it's felt like Roth was shamelessly lifting ideas from older, far better movies without adding anything new. Rather than feeling like homage, they're closer to poor imitation. Instead of being remotely horrifying, the scariest thing about a growing number of Roth's films, when they aren't outright disasters like the baffling Borderlands, is how derivative they are. Such is the case with Ice Cream Man, Roth's first film directed under his company, The Horror Section. Not to be confused with the 1995 horror movie of the same name starring Clint Howard, this is a film about the dangers of consuming too much ice cream that itself feels like it's gobbled up too many past horror films and puked them out. However, what's strange this time around is how his latest is not just indebted to horror of the distant past, but recent genre hits like the Terrifier series and Zach Cregger's Weapons. It's once more not nearly as good as either of those. Instead, it's just a sporadic smashing together of both of them, bringing together murderous kids trapped in a trance of some kind and a silent though far less entertainingly expressive killer pulling their strings. Credit where credit is due. This is not the worst premise on paper, and even sounds like it could be the start of a more campy, cheeky horror romp. Unfortunately, Roth never makes the most of this potential, resulting in a film that's really cheap and less than clever. This cheapness extends both to the way it all looks as well as the way it's constructed. From the opening moments surrounding a baseball game that will soon be the last any in this town ever play, it feels like you're watching a YouTube sketch rather than an immersive horror film. There isn't any richness or texture to the images. Most of the scenes are bizarrely overlit, and lines of dialogue feel painfully cringeworthy in a way that only seems half-intentional. The more that it goes, the more the whole thing proves inescapably awkward and stiff rather than playfully unhinged. Most disappointingly, when it comes to what this horror film attempts to serve up, there just isn't that much to chew on. It's never quite creatively ridiculous enough to go off the rails, and the scenes where we're spoon-fed mounds of unnecessary exposition grind everything to a halt. Where the grim pleasures to be found in Weapons were balanced by a creeping sense of dread, Roth's Ice Cream Man doesn't earn either. It occasionally gestures towards playing around with some animated sequences, only for those to fall by the wayside. For all it throws at the wall to see what sticks, the surface stays pretty bare. Despite running less than 90 minutes, you will feel the length. A sudden swerve to dive into the backstory of its killer just results in a dreary, drawn-out explanation. Ice Cream Man sees Eli Roth once more imitating better horror movies to mixed results, mostly making you wish that you were watching Terrifier or Weapons instead. Even as it's not without some genuinely gruesome bursts of violence for all you gore lovers, there's just not much else on the bone here. It's cheap rather than clever, cumbersome rather than campy, and ultimately just oddly empty. Ice Cream Man's IGN score? 5 out of 10. Thanks for listening to IGN. My name is Tony Jackson, and for the latest updates on Ice Cream Man, visit us at IGN.com.
Spoken Layer.